Hello everyone, I've got a really short experience today, so shouldn't take up too much of your time. As per usual, this one is from the E NDE I website, and it is from, for those of you who read them yourselves or go through it again, I don't know what you do, but anyway, it's from a girl called Barbara. Surname begins with an E. So let's hear Barbara's experience. The day had been an emotionally difficult one, as my mother had recently been diagnosed with terminal cancer. I was quite depressed and had spent the day on the couch, staring out the sliding doors that were on the ocean side of the house. At last it was bedtime. I had lain down in bed and my husband was in the adjoining bathroom getting ready for bed. Suddenly I became extremely nauseated, leaned over the side of the bed and began vomiting. Then all went black. The next thing I knew, I was mildly aware of hurling through a tunnel-type atmosphere. Then I was situated in the midst of a startling, seemingly alive white light. Still feeling a bit stunned and confused, I wondered, where am I? What's going on? Then it hit me. I thought to myself, oh shoot. Not exactly the word I use, but you get my drift. I must be dead. Almost simultaneously with that realization, it seemed as if the light penetrated through me, and I felt the most magnificent warmth, peace, and acceptance imaginable. I felt awe. I felt loved and cradled. It was clear that the light loved me so completely, knew me through and through, and had no hesitance in accepting my weaknesses, and felt quite a bit of humour about how seriously I took my life. As I settled into the love without condition, I realised more and more how utterly and absolutely intelligent the light was. The sheer level of creativity and intellect was emotionally and psychologically beyond comprehension. I knew that because the light was telepathically melded with me, allowing me to sense at least a minute degree of what was contained within. There was so much thought and information that it felt as if zillions of scrolls of data about the nature of true reality just kept unraveling. I was lost and overwhelmed and had no comprehension of what it all meant. Yet the central message came through loud and clear. Reality is so much larger, multi-layered, and multi-dimensional than we humans realize. Consciousness is able to experience so much more than what we commonly practice. Everything has purpose and meaning. Just as I was beginning to settle into this wondrous environment, I heard the first actual speaking voice. Everything had been telepathic until now. The voice, very deep and masculine, said, "Do you want to go back?" I understood immediately that it was asking if I wanted to go back to my life on earth. My immediate thought was, no. How could I ever leave this place of utter beauty and love? The voice then said, "If you want to go back, concentrate on the sound." Sound? What sound? I thought. Then I remember moving my attention away a bit and kind of listening to the left side of my body. Far, far away, as if through a distant tunnel, I heard a very faint voice calling my name. I realized it was Ed, my husband of some 18 years. As soon as my concentration locked onto his voice, I lost a second and then was back in bed with him standing over me, screaming as loud as he could. The experience then ended. So as you can see, a fairly brief experience today, but no less profound or powerful. I took a lot out of that, even though there wasn't too much to read. So let's go through it again. So Barbara is in a difficult emotional state. Her mother has been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and obviously in that kind of situation, most people are going to get pretty upset and depressed, which is exactly her reaction. So she's just lying there on the couch, staring blankly at nothing, just kind of absorbed in darkness, which we all can relate to. This experience as a human is never short of those challenging experiences that push us into places that aren't very comfortable. So there she is, and suddenly it's getting later in the day, and she starts to feel a little bit nauseated and begins to lean over the side of the bed and begins to vomit. So she's getting unwell. It doesn't go into detail as to what her condition is, if it's a physical manifestation of what she is experiencing mentally. It doesn't say, or if it's an actual illness, we don't know. But all of a sudden she begins vomiting and everything goes black, and this is when her near-death experience starts. So like most people, Barbara begins to fly through this tunnel type atmosphere. That's the only description we get. There's no further explanation of what it looked like or felt like. But she says that in this tunnel she begins to experience a white light, and this white light to her is seemingly alive. And she's very confused. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know what this light is. But then all of a sudden the penny kind of drops, and she kind of realizes, wow, I must be dead or dying or leaving my body, or this place, this other dimension is totally different to what I'm used to, so this must be death. And as she realizes this, it's like this light she sees in the tunnel just suddenly, she uses the word penetrates throughout her, molds with her, connects with her, and as this happens, it brings the usual feelings of love, of awe, of warmth, of peace, of acceptance and perfection, of being cradled, all those sort of words that we hear every week on this podcast when people are able to connect to this source energy or God being or light, or all these human words that we use to describe something that is clearly beyond our comprehension. But she's just absolutely in bliss in this other world, and she feels that this light loves her so much and knows her so well, and knows everything about her, including her weaknesses. And in this situation, and we hear this every now and then, the light has a sense of humor to it, and starts telepathically telling her that, just chill, don't take life so seriously, and try to see the funny side of it all a little bit. It's just an experience, and it's not your real self. Is what I'm reading from this experience in terms of them having a bit of a laugh at this current situation. But Barbara, as she is in this state of connection with the light, begins to realize a little bit more about what this light actually is. And she is blown away by how brilliant it is, how intelligent it is, how creative it is. And the level of intelligence is beyond our comprehension as humans, for her to actually explain what that actually means. So while she is in this state of connection with the light, she's able to basically get all her questions answered. She sees these scrolls of data about what reality actually is, and it's just an endless amount of information, and it's just mind-blowing to her. She becomes lost and overwhelmed and has no comprehension of what it all means. So this light is obviously unveiling to her all of creation and all of the information that it has learned and knows about it, and obviously when you think of it in that context, it would be too much to comprehend. It's hard enough for us humans to even understand our small little rock we call Earth, and to think of someone trying to explain the true nature of reality when you look at not only the physical universe and all the worlds that are part of that, and the different forms of life that inhabit all those planets, and we only know of one at the moment, which is ours, but clearly there would be more out there that support life, and just getting your head around understanding all that and all the lessons that humanity has learned in terms of how to survive on this planet, and what works and what doesn't work, and practicing love, and just the sheer scale of the information learned on this planet alone would be mind-boggling. But if you think about the whole universe and all the other life forms and experiences they have, and that's just the physical. So, and then you got to think about the non-physical and what that actually means and looks like, and what lessons are learnt in that dimension. And we learn again and again from these experiences. There's it's not just physical and non-physical. There's infinite other experiences and dimensions out there, because consciousness is able to shape shift into various forms and have experiences that go way beyond the human comprehension. But she says that during this connection with the light, she's able to experience so much more than what we practice in this physical realm. And when you think about it, this little life we're having as a human must just be the tip of the iceberg. If a universe this huge and mysterious can be created, there must be much, much more that is out there to be experienced. And given what we learn in these near-death experiences, the good part about that is we get to learn all about that at some point and experience it for ourselves. And she says the light also says to her that everything has purpose and meaning. Sometimes, I almost on a daily basis, I kind of think like, what is the point of all this to myself? I think, there's a lot of difficulties in this life, and I wonder what we're doing here. I often ask where I work at the aged care facility, the older, wiser, still cognitive residents, what the meaning of life is, and most of them, are as clueless as I am in my 40s. Even though they've lived another 40, 50 years, most of them still can't quite get their heads around why we're here either. But obviously there's various answers, and some will say, there is no point. We're just here as this human being to, live our lives and do the best we can. And and I guess it's such an individual, and there's one woman I actually ask regularly, and we have a bit of a joke because she's, she every time I ask her, she says, "Oh yeah, look, I'll get back to you later," because she doesn't know either, and it's such I guess a personal journey we're all on, and we're all going to have different purposes, goals, destinations we want to get to, and depending on what they are, it's obviously going to add various flavors of experience to our journey, and that's going to give it different meaning. And some people will gravitate towards family, some people will find religion, some people will throw themselves into their work, and that's going to give them the purpose and the meaning that they need to get themselves through this experience. And it's just going to be different for everyone. But I guess at the end of the day, we are here to find, in a way, I think, what love actually means, and because love is a very vague word. I think it's hard to actually tie down a specific meaning to it, and I think in a way we might even be here to explore. I think that's part of my journey, actually, to explore this word love and see what it actually means, and test out my theories on what that can be defined as, in terms of how effective it can be in this physical world, and how possible it is to try and love everyone, and have that as your intent, to having that as your intent to go about this experience, and give as much as possible, and I sort of feel like that's part of my journey anyway, to do what I can to try and love as many people as I can, because I don't have a family. I mean, I've got family, and I've got a very good family, but no wives or kids or anything like that. So for me, I just try to give out as much love as I can to everyone, and we're all human, and sometimes that's easier to do than others. But for me, it's becoming a practice that I never thought I would be involved in, but obviously through my own spiritual experiences and spiritual awakening, this has come through as a practice that I like to participate in. But yeah, we have all got our different ideas of what love is, and often that can, be mixed in with things like lust and greed and addiction, because we can desire or crave things so much, and that word can become blurred with love. But from researching these experiences, that that desire, that craving, that urge is different from the love we learn that is happening in this other dimension, and that seems to be a more unconditional, not wanting anything back, just giving it because it's the right thing to do, it seems. And this is what I like to explore, and I often am drawn to these experiences that mention love, and luckily most of them do. So yeah, this is my element when I'm reading these experiences. So hopefully you can follow my convoluted commentary and make a little bit of sense, and you can connect to some of it at least. So Barbara's cruising along through this tunnel, connected to the light, and starting to get some messages come through in terms of, everything has purpose, everything has meaning. Consciousness is what you truly are. It goes way beyond any human description of what that actually means, because its origins are from out of this world and can't be described with human words. And this is basically a summary of what she's experienced so far. Then she begins to actually hear talking. So far it's been more of an experience type communication, or a telepathic type communication without actually human words, having a conversation with her. And this voice, she says, when she hears it, is deep, it's masculine, and it asks the dreaded question that NDEs get asked, and that question is, do you want to go back? And Barbara understands immediately that this question means, do you want to leave this realm and go back to your body on Earth? Barbara is no different to 99% of people in this situation, and when offered this choice, the gut reaction is, no way, this place is heaven, I'm not leaving, I don't want to go back to this body and the challenges of being human. But as so often happens, the deciding factor ends up being a memory of her family or kids she needs to raise, or some kind of mission that she promised her guides that she would complete before she came down here. And in this case, she hears this voice say, okay, you try and hear a sound, just listen out for a sound. So Barbara starts saying, okay, what sound? I can't hear anything. But then the next thing she knows, she hears a very faint voice, and this voice is calling her name, and she realizes the guy with the voice is her husband, Ed. And then next thing she knows, she's back in her body, and with her husband, and he's screaming and glad she's back, and that's about it. That's about the end of Barbara's experience. So I quite enjoyed reading that one. Hopefully you got something out of it too. There's nothing much more I can add to that. But if you want to reach out to me, my email is podafterlife@gmail.com. I would love to hear some of your spiritual experiences. Doesn't have to be an NDE, just or it doesn't even have to be anything spiritual. You can just write to say hi, and I would love to hear from you. And just feel free to introduce yourself. I will leave it there. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to talking to you again next week. Sending you lots of love, happiness, joy, and peace. Goodbye.